It's that time of year again, the time of year when many woodlands in the UK go from brown or green to a vibrant blue or purple, depending on your perception of the colour of bluebells. This, of course, is one of my favourite locations, especially for moth trapping. This is Lound Wood, a beautiful bluebell woodland just outside the village of Eakin, and it's privately owned too. I'm fortunate that I've had access to this wood for well over 20 odd years, since 1997. I still love coming here. Love it even more this time of year. We're just knocking past the middle of April, and you can see why I enjoy coming here at this time of year, because the woodland is now carpeted with bluebells. The woodland's really coming alive now. It's an ideal time to grab the kids and drag them out from behind the various consoles and computers and tablets and phones, get them out into the countryside and into the fresh air to enjoy a spectacle the likes of which we don't have many of in the UK. There's something magical about woodland in springtime, carpeted with this fabulous flower. It's quite a breezy day today. I was going to film somewhere else, somewhere more exposed, but it's just too windy for that. So I'm afraid I've had to come and sit in the middle of this lot. Bluebells, they have to be one of the UK's most wonderful, special plants. They certainly help to create a fantastic picture. How many times have bluebells been painted in a situation like this? I did a video, sat more or less in this very spot a year ago. And talked about how a bluebell woodland really is Mother Nature's complete work of art. But the big question is, are bluebells actually blue, or are they mauve or purple? And these are the traditional bluebells, not the Spanish bluebells. Spanish bluebell, there are a few examples in here, and the big danger is that they hybridize. They're more vigorous and less dainty than the UK's native species of bluebell, and they shouldn't be out from people's gardens, but people tend to throw a stray little tiny bulb away, and within a few years it's a clump, and then everything just gets spread from there. Even the wren agrees. But as a spectacle, a wildlife spectacle in the UK, there's not a lot that can beat this. You can keep your rutting red deer on some Scottish island. And as much as I'd like to see a starling murmuration, it doesn't offer this. The smell here today is absolutely beautiful. It's quite a heady perfume from bluebells. I thought that I might be a few days too early, or a week or so too early, but no, now's the time if you want to get out and see such a spectacle at your local bluebell woodland. And I dare say that many bluebell woodlands have gone over the years through development. We lose so much through development. And I'm a firm believer that everybody should sit down in a situation like this at least once in their lifetime. Sit down for 10 minutes or an hour or longer and just watch the world go by. It's generally a quiet world in woodland. I think that's why I like it. Gives you a different perspective on this grand display of flowers by lying on the ground. And the smell is even more amazing. But what I have noticed is how there are slight differences within clumps of bluebells. They might look completely en masse bluebells, but when you look at them close up, and certainly when they're just coming through the leaf litter a few weeks ago, you can see that the whole blue sea is actually made up of lots of individual clumps. There's no even spread of the plants. But even though they're in the same soil, and if we look at these at the back here, and this clump and this clump, there's a big difference. They're all fully out. In fact, most of them around here are fully out. This clump is only just starting to open. And this clump isn't even barely showing blue yet. And that's within the space of 3 feet or a metre. So often this shows in plants, and I mentioned it certainly with goat sallow and the timing of the flowers and flowering of goat sallow in the spring. Such subtle variances in the timing of opening of the flowers. If you look en masse, you won't notice it. Get down to this level and you sort of spot these little bits and bobs, these little differences. We have an easterly wind today, and you can always feel an easterly wind. An easterly wind in the UK feels different, at least it does here in Landerloch and Nottinghamshire, the home supposedly of Robin Hood and all that. But it does. I mean, a lot of people will laugh, but it just feels different to any other wind or breeze that we get in the UK. Northerly, westerly, southwesterly, southerly, northwesterly. An easterly breeze just feels very coastal. And yet we're 80 miles or so away from the nearest area of sea on the east coast, thankfully. But it does. Today's breeze just feels different. Don't ask me how or why. Most people will never notice, and nearly everybody will think I'm daft, but it does. There's so much more to everything in nature. If you think that bluebells are all the same colour, even if it's the same variety, you'll always find oddities and you'll always find different shades. Not everything can be lumped into the same bracket. It seems the flies are starting to find me attractive. Maybe I should have a bath this month.